And joining us now to talk about it is the author of a column in the Edmonton Sun called Political Correctness is More Fuel for Populism, our friend Lorne Gunter, who joins us now via Skype. Oh, great to see you again.
Good to see you.
Well, thanks very much. Why don't you take us through your column a little bit? You start off by referring to Sean Speer, who used to be an advisor to Stephen Harper, and he wrote a bit of a warning. Why don't you tell us what that warning is and how it might apply to Canada?
Well, first of all, Speer said that, if you leave a whole class of people behind economically, when you expand your economy or you move your economy in a new direction, that class of people are going to perhaps rebel. And that's the source of an awful lot of thinking now on populism, is that people who are left behind by globalization, lots of times assembly line workers, sometimes people who work in farming and other manual labor, they got left behind because we moved jobs overseas, we moved production overseas to where labor was cheaper. They were forgotten, and part of Donald Trump's victory in the United States, part of the Brexit victory in the UK, both come from people who are marginalized or dislocated by globalization. So I think Speer is right there. But I think another thing goes back to something that goes back to even something you wrote almost 15 years ago in The War on Fun. It's all of this petty nagging and preaching and hectoring from elites that you don't eat properly, you don't use the right pronouns, you aren't sensitive enough to this group or that group, and on and on. Our straws are choking turtles in the ocean, on and on and on. Nothing that ordinary people do is good enough or right for people in the enlightened elites, the people who see themselves as benighted and above the rest of us. And I think after a while, those drip, drip, drip messages that you don't commute properly, you should be on transit, not in your own car, you should be on a bicycle rather than your own pickup truck, on and on and on. After a while, that fuels populism too, because people just get tired of being nagged and they say, enough's enough, and I don't like the system anymore.
Yeah, you're so right. I just can't help notice that the latest thing from the establishment, and I'm using that word generically, is don't eat meat. Let's all become vegetarians, or even, and I know it's insane, but I'm seeing it everywhere, this crazy call to eat bugs. To eat bugs. And I can assure you, I have visited the United Nations in New York before. I have never seen such a lavish, it is exquisite. They wouldn't eat any cut of meat other than the filet. They have 5-star meals, the finest wines.
Absolutely.
And that, I think it's that we know they don't mean it for themselves, but they mean it for us. It was the same thing about don't fly, don't commute. We got Meghan Markle, who took 4 private jet flights in 11 days, telling us that we got to drive less or vacation less. It's not just the insanity, it's they're not even pretending they're doing it too.
No, exactly. Google had a conference on Sicily by private invitation only to discuss the environment. 300 invitees brought 144 private jets. Spare me, please. Please. Just stop telling me these things. And I think that's part of the populism too. It is economic dislocation. If you don't worry about your job being cut, if you don't worry about where your next paycheck's going to come from, you're happy with your house, you're happy with your vacation every year, maybe some of those other things, the political correctness things, don't bother you. But as soon as you're also being pressured on the economic side, then boy, it's extra hard to take that self-smugness from elites that, oh my goodness, well, French fries are just awful. You have a bag of fries every once in a while because it's a nice relief from the stresses of your everyday. You don't need some skinny dietitian who thinks a rice cake is a sufficient meal to nag at you with a little pinched face and say, oh my goodness, you're not doing the right thing. And after a while being told again and again, being told that your concern about the levels of illegal immigration into the country are nothing but racism, after a while you just say, no, it's not. Like, there's a legitimate reason to debate this, to talk about whether or not this is a good idea, a bad idea. Maybe you can convince me it's a good idea, but it's not wrong to ask the question.
That's an excerpt from the Ezra Levant show. Every day I do a video monologue and then I interview an interesting guest, and then I end by reading my hate mail. But you've got to subscribe to it, which you can do at therebel.media/shows.